Are you a single parent or just really are in that place where you need to take your business to the next level no matter what? You are like all in. This video and this interview is going to be for you. Today, I am interviewing a top producer in the Denver metro area. Her name is Dawn Conzelman, and she's an absolutely a star. She's been in the business for over 10 years, but she started as a single mom full time, and she just had to make this business work for her. Today, she's a managing broker, she's a mentor, she's a counselor, she's someone that you want by your side to learn how to run this business. And the best beauty of it, she has a mentorship program that she will help you take step by step to take you to the next level. So if you have any questions, you want to get to know more Dawn, or if you have any questions to me about how joining our group, make sure you guys are just connecting with us. All our information, it is on the description below. We'll love to connect with you. But more than that, the most important thing about this channel is that you can get something today as you're watching and implementing your business that will help you make another deal, get your business to the next level. So stay set, let's dive in and make sure you're sending all your questions and comments so that we can get in contact with you. But for now, let's go introduce you to this amazing lady, and you're gonna get to learn so much. There's so much wisdom today in this call. Let's go. Hey everybody, as I took the moment to give this amazing introduction of having Dawn in here today, you guys are going to have to hear from her directly, her experience, her story, and I couldn't be more excited to have her here today. So Dawn, welcome. Thank you for being here. We're so excited.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. And well, I know this is a customary thing, but I love to get back in the beginning, like, just kind of sharing your story, know how you even got into real estate, because a lot of people, maybe they think like, even maybe they might be watching, even considering, getting to real estate, am I too late? All of those things. So let's just get over with that part and just hear from you and learn from you, because I know you have a beautiful story to share.
Oh, thank you. Well, gosh, it's been now a little over 13 years ago that I got my license, which it's crazy. I think time collapses pretty quickly. And so it's amazing to me to look back and see, oh my gosh, how long it's been already that I've been in this business. Basically, I was in the health insurance industry, had worked in that field, certainly just out of college, into new marriage. And then after having my first child, which she's turning 28 in just a couple weeks, so that I've dated myself a little bit there. But when she was born, I made the decision, not out of luxury, but one out of what felt like necessity, to stay home. It was incredibly expensive to pay for daycare. And I figured, well, I'm going to work just to hand over my paycheck to somebody else who's going to watch my baby. And so I was a stay-at-home mom for 14 and a half years before I got my license in real estate. I was also a homeschooling mom. So I homeschooled both my kids. I have a daughter and a son. Homeschooled them until they were just about in high school. And then they sought out new opportunities. They wanted to be integrated into a school environment, and that gave me the opportunity to think about what would I like to do with my time, with them being more independent and being of the age where they were going to be nearly in high school or late middle school for my son. And so that allowed me to think about career, if that was something that I wanted to do and occupy my time with. Real estate had always been something that had been kind of on the back burner. I'd had some other relatives that had been in the real estate industry in various different capacities, some as a commercial broker, some on the leasing side of things, whether that was commercial or residential, and even residential sales. So it was something that I got to see. I think in particular, there was a aunt of mine, really kind of a great aunt of mine, who was in real estate, and she was in residential real estate. And so seeing a woman in that field was something I think that caused it to pique my interest. And so I looked into it, saw that really the barrier to entry was pretty minimal. It wasn't very difficult from a time perspective or even from a cost perspective to start a business in real estate. I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a try. And so I did. I looked into schooling and started that process. I got my license in real estate.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, I feel like real estate kind of found me, but it's so cool when I hear those stories of like, you had a friend, or maybe like, oh, I was little, my mom, we always went to open houses or something like that.
Right.
And I think it's so powerful, especially us being women. There's just some industries or some positions or roles that we think is just a male dominant. And in real estate, quite frankly, it has been, like I feel like when you see, but it's so amazing as the industry is shifting, more and more women, it's joining this industry, and more of them are becoming super powerhouses. So I love every time I have an opportunity to see, they are at the top, just because we all have the same capability. I know that we have different struggles that, maybe male may have, like just, security and protection for ourselves. But I think it's still a very amazing industry now that I'm here and I understand it.
Yeah.
And so 13 years, that's amazing. And just so you know, you do not look like you have a 20-year-old daughter. Like you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And so now you're in the business. Have you always been in the same area where you currently is, or have you moved and transitioned your license, or?
Great question. For the most part, I've served in the same general market. I live in Colorado, and I serve in kind of the larger Denver metro area, which is kind of a large space. And I've always served in that general area throughout my whole career. So no, I have not moved outside of my specific starting space when it has come to my career and how it's developed. So I've had the opportunity to watch and to see how real estate has functioned, how the market has shifted over the course of that time in one specific area of town.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So now they're, kind of diving in on, you are in real estate, and just let's talk about like, just the first couple of years, was a easy breeze for you? I mean, I know you're a very determined lady, but, just kind of curious, like you're super go-getter, you have very successful business, but I'm just curious, like some people already have a very stellar first years, and others are just kind of figuring it out. How was that for you? And I'm just curious as well, like, mindset wise, if anything helped you to kind of overcome any, fears or thoughts of like, you starting something new, even though you had kind of like that vision of other people in our family that it did, but now you are the one, right, trying to do that and walk on those shoes.
Well, that's a great question. And I think I should preface with, though I had some people in my periphery that I had seen function in this industry in various different capacities, I really didn't have much input from those folks when it came to me starting my career. So it wasn't like I had any built-in coaching, if you will, from individuals or family members that I was watching. I think that there was a transition for me within the first couple of years. I got my license, but I think it took me a little while, and maybe those first couple of years, to identify myself as a business owner, to understand that what I was doing was not just helping people through a specific process and helping them to buy and sell a house, very transactional, but to understand that this was a business that I had opened. Because, right, when we think of opening a business, often we think of a storefront. Well, I didn't have that, right? I had my own little office and a desk and whatnot at my brokerage firm, but we often don't think of it that way. And that's really the growth opportunity that I had, was to come into that space of understanding I'm not just a licensee, I'm actually a business owner, and I have the ability to craft the kind of business that I want, and that can change too as I mature in the industry. I understand that for myself, my story might be very different than a lot of other people. When we talk about what did that start look like, how did you start the race, and how successful, did you become right away or not? I think my personal story comes into play. And when you ask about mindset, I think this plays into a big part of what my mindset was founded around. When I first got my license, within just a few months, I found myself walking through divorce. And that was not what I had expected at all. And so, I don't believe that my marriage necessarily was a casualty of my business. I was very new in the business within just a few months. There were just other things that were taking place that I didn't know, that were secretive, and I didn't know. And so I think that having a massive personal shift in my world. I had been married for 18 years. I had been with my spouse for 23 years. So a large portion of my life and of my adult life. And to be in a place where now I'm instantly single and I'm a single parent. He moved out of state, so he wasn't even in proximity. So I was, had full custody of my kids and was the sole provider, had no financial support at all. And so I went from being a stay-at-home mom to being a quote unquote business owner, right? All commission income, and having to support myself in a big way immediately. And so I know that that's different than a lot of people when they come into this industry. Yeah. They may have their hands on a full-time job and they're making the transition to real estate as full-time, or they have the comfort of another income to provide for a ramp-up process. I didn't have that. And so there was really a desperation of, I need to hit the ground running, and I need to hit it running yesterday. I need to provide immediately for my family. And so one of the things I think that was a huge motivator for me, and I'm going to lean back behind me and show you, because I do keep it on my credenza behind me. You can see there's a big Y, and that's on purpose. No, that's not an initial of mine. But my big Y is filled with photographs of my family, people that I care about. These are the people that are directly impacted by the decisions I make, but more importantly, by the decisions I choose not to make. And one of the things that I framed early on in my career, we had been a family that had been supported by food stamps. And so this is what was my food stamps card. I framed it when I started in this business, and it sat on my desk. It was something that I could look at and be reminded that this was a space that I didn't want to go back to. And so being in that space of immediate shift in my personal life and having to stay focused in the midst of grief and sadness and reorientation, I didn't want to go to this space. I felt like I am capable, I'm smart, I am a go-getter, I have the ability to do. And as long as I do have those things, I'm going to exhaust all the possibilities necessary. And so when I first started, I tried everything. And so it really is true that everything works. Whatever you do to try and procure leads, it all works. You just need to do it consistently, and to do it with intentionality, with the idea of wanting to improve at that skill so that you can grow it and develop relationships. Identify yourself as a real estate professional to those people that are in your personal audience and those that you're hoping to reach out to. And at some point, those things will click together. And so how that worked for me, I hosted open houses for agents that had listings. I cold called, I did expired calls, I calls on FSBOs. I did everything possible to try and get leads. It did work. I closed 6 deals in my first 60 days. I closed 10 in my first 4 months. And in my first year of business, I closed 18 transactions. Yeah. When I started though, however, 13 years ago, the price point here in the Denver metro area was very different than it is today. And so, today's numbers, closing 18 transactions, would be a pretty healthy income. It'd probably be close to $200,000 in GCI. For me, it was about $70,000 at the time. So it was a fraction of what it could be today, but it was more money than I had ever made before in my adult life. And so motivator mindset was all about my kids. Yeah. I have a responsibility as their parent to take care of them in all ways, not just in physical ways, but emotional ways too. They became the cornerstone of how I fashioned my business. As a single mom, I was not going to work 24/7. This industry will let you, work 24/7, but I made the decision that I'm not going to be away from my kids all the time. They need to have me present now that I'm the only one. And so I protected my schedule. I became, I guess, really intentional about what went into my calendar and what didn't. Guarded personal time. I created a day off for myself. I know, crazy for a brand new agent, right?
Yeah.
But I created a day off for myself, and I still have kept it, even though my kids are grown and they don't need me home anymore. I guard it and protect it. Does it mean that I don't see notifications on those days? No, of course I see them. I have a phone, but I don't respond to them and guard that. And so anyway, there were things that I had to implement into my calendar to guard my time for them. And again, I think they were the motivator for what I did and what I didn't do. It made it easier, especially in a cold call situation, to move past the 20th no in a row to get to number 21. And it's not that I didn't have breakdowns. I did, right? But it's just their face was something that I wanted to say yes to. And so it meant that it was easier to receive the no from the next person. That's
Wow.
kind of the start, to my story. And I know it's different from most.
No, but again, right, and I think it makes a difference in the beginning, right? Because I started with a full-time job, so I did have that safety net, right? If this doesn't work, right, or anything like that, even though I did had a good start, because I'm motivated. If I'm gonna do something, like, it can fail, but I want to say I gave my all to it, and and I did that for my first year before I decided, is this even for me? But I appreciate you sharing that, and obviously, all merit to you for your resilience, even in the midst of such a chaotic moment. And I'm sure you've grown a lot from that. You had to, for where you are today. So just, I applaud you for sharing and being open and transparent, but then also just for overcoming it. And I think that's hopefully everybody here is getting not just inspired, because we all go through ups and downs in life, and that's going to happen with whatever job you have, and especially in real estate, where you see the face of your business, right? So you kind of have to just still show up regardless of how you feel sometimes, to get that deal closed, or for your clients or for your family. So we see you. I'll just say we see you, even with what Dawn had shared. And if you guys even if you're getting started, have a question or something like that, make sure you guys are putting any of the questions on the comments, because this is how we are all relational people. And I think that's something that I love about our group, and how we want to see you grow as well on your business. So get in contact, ask questions. Dawn's information also is going to be on all the descriptions, so you can go follow her, see her journey. She's still rocking it and doing amazing things, so we all can learn from each other. And I think that's the beauty thing about this business. You say so many things that I'm just like that. I feel like it's so important, starting this business, that a lot of agents don't have that mindset, or at least think about that. I come, from the tech industry, but my background is in business. I always, even being an employee, I always thought of this is my business, how am I running things, even if I had to report to a boss. So I think it did help me when I shifted into real estate, that I understood I am running my business from day one, right? For now, I might be wearing all the hats. Maybe in the future, I might add some support. And someone that is coming from a 9-to-5 job, and then they get into real estate to change their lives, to make all this money, whatever they may see the reason why they get into real estate. And then sometimes they flat on their face, because they're just like, nobody's here telling you what to do. And I hear those stories, and you might have heard those stories because you've been in the business even longer than I have. So if you can just give some tips as far as what helped you understand that, and just for someone that is watching today, maybe they are still in their first few years and they're still trying to figure it out, how critical it is to understand with very little that you're starting a business that can truly change your life, but yet you need to kind of put some boundaries or understanding or anything that you like to share just on that specifically?
Sure. Yeah, I think, again, when I first started, I don't think that I got into this industry with an aspiration to become a business owner. You know what I mean? And that's really the challenge that I was talking about. Maybe some of it was a little bit more reactionary. My circumstances were driving me to go, you know what I mean? To do what was needed to earn the income. And then once I got to a place where there was momentum, right, by consistent activity, then I began to understand, oh, yes, I'm wearing all the hats, I'm doing all the things. And at some point I can plan for leverage in some of those areas. But really, I'm the decision maker. I get to make decisions. There's a lot of freedom in that. I'm the decision maker. I get to decide, what do I want this business to look like? And I think that that's something that's so empowering for me, especially as a woman. That was something incredibly empowering, that I can design something that suits me, that suits the lifestyle that I want to have. And I don't just mean monetarily, though that is an aspect, but that gives me the money freedom and time freedom that I desire. I don't have to chase the coattails of another agent to be quote unquote successful. I get to determine what success looks like for me. And whether that's 10 deals a year or 4 deals a year, or that's 50 deals a year or more, I get to decide what that gets to look like for me. I get to customize my business. And that's something that's so incredibly freeing. We don't have to compete with other folks to be deemed successful in our own eyes. I think one of the important things for any agent, and this includes myself, because even now, after I've come over my 13th anniversary, coaching, mentorship, leaning into others that are doing things at a level that you desire to do it at. And that could be whatever skills you want to put in that box. If it's a matter of money management, well, lean into people that are managing money well that you can learn from. If it's about lead generation, if it's about your systems, you get the idea, whatever the topic is about, create a board of directors, if you will. Those people may not know they're on your board of directors, but you get to pick and choose who you allow to be influential for you. And don't forget how important that is. We're continually learning in this business. That's something that I have been so thankful for in our particular group and organization here at the company, is that there's so many talented individuals that are doing things very differently than I do, but that I can learn from, and they're so willing to share. And so that's something I would say as advice is, don't be afraid to lean into those that are doing things at a level that you would aspire to do them at, whether that's production or whatnot, so that you can learn and develop those skills. And if you don't have someone, man, raise your hand, figure out how to put yourself in an access point to get in contact with people that can help you. And maybe that is a goal in your business, that you've got to create revenue to support that education. And so there's a lot of different resources that you can lean into. I always say free is our friend. So tap into the free stuff first. And then maybe pay for it. But
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's just like, because there's so many things out there, and good or bad, there's obviously, people that are in the business that they might want to sell something, right? And it might be very valuable, but in the end of the day, even if you buy something, you don't do anything with it. Like, you already lost the value, even if you pay for it. Now it's just a waste of money and resources, if you're not really going to dive in. But I love what you're saying. Like, it's so critical. I never thought of like the board of directors, but I feel like I did that, but just didn't have the title. But it's so true. It is so important. When you're starting, you don't know all the things. And even as you are in your journey, because we are evolving with our business and our goals and vision. So having that different people that are doing really well in different areas that maybe you're not, or that you want to improve, it's so critical. And it's something that as you're sharing here, I love the collaboration in this group. Like, a lot of those influential people that are, part of my business without knowing, they're all spread out throughout the US. They're not just local, someone that is here. A lot of them I have met just in the last, recent years. And today they're a voice that, that I respect, and I respect what they're doing. And they are helping my business directly or indirectly, because some of them I have a little bit more time, and others just like you listen to a call and you're like, wow, I can just take that one thing and put it in here in my business, and already it's going to just, improve and increase. And this is something just throwing out there for you guys that are listening. You may or may already not, know about our group and things like that. And she said, like, free is better than anything else. And it's incredible the amount of support and training and everything that we have in here. It's absolutely for free just by partnering up with us. So it's also questions that you can, be reaching out to us and asking how you can get started, what that it looks like. We would love to have those in-depth conversations, because, I think the beauty in here is this, that you have people ahead of you that we're learning from, but we're not turning our back for those that are, that needs or getting started or are wanting to do something that we are doing. And I love that about our group. And that's why even I have Dawn in here, today, giving her time for you guys to learn more. So I would love to know for your business, today, what has been the one thing that you've been doing consistently? Because I know, as you said, there's so many things you can do, right? And I feel like you're like hustling, trying to do it all to see wherever, the leads will come from. But what has been consistent for you of a lead generation that, for your business today?
Sure. I think ultimately it comes down to building relationships. I think that we have the ability to identify ourselves as a real estate professional, but that comes in tandem with being a human being, being a real human. And so showing up in the places that you already engage with others. And so whether that's through school activities, if you've got children that are in school, if it's through hobbies or whatnot, it's choosing to put yourself out there and to share who you are as a whole, as a person, but also what you do professionally, and being willing to cultivate relationships. And that takes time, certainly. I think that's been the thing that's been consistent for me, is staying in touch, keeping in touch with people, providing value to them on both realms. It's developing friendships means being a good human being to people, right? Noticing when things are wonderful in their life, noticing when things are terrible in their life, being willing to come alongside them and not be a real estate agent, right? But then obviously the opposite is true as well, that when they are in a place where they're needing advice, they're needing expertise, being willing to step in and offer my service to them. And so I think for me, it has been a journey, right? It was a process of developing as much as I could in the way of leads so that I could create a database for myself, and then continuing to nurture those relationships. And so predominantly for me today, my business is typically repeat clients and referrals at this point. So there's not a lot of procurement of leads in an external fashion as much as it was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you did the heavy work, right, in the beginning, which was to generate, right, all the leads. And then now you are in a place because you are building relationship. And I think that's why don't look at your clients as a one-time transaction, because, all that work you did to help them buy that house or sell that house, you don't want it to end there, right? And that's where the relationship comes, and nurturing that, following up, being part of their lives. They're going to continue to remember you and who you are and what you did, for their friends and family and for themselves if they, have future needs. And that's so powerful. I am only on my 3.5 year, and it was so amazing. Like, I feel like for the first time this year, when I was getting more referrals from my clients, obviously that I have been working with, and it just feels so good, right? It's so amazing that it's just like, oh, someone gave me your number,
Right.
And so I can't wait for more and more of that to come. But I'm definitely with you as far as, building relationship, and it just flows because it feels natural, right? You being who you are, and it's not something fake or pushy or trying hard, and people can feel that, and they will
Yeah.
probably walk the other way around if they sense any of that. And then, so one question that I have for you, like as I would kind of getting close to wrapping up, more of like, how are some of the ways that today you have been helping agents, you know, in your group, just like, I know obviously you're a wealth of knowledge, but some of the things that you feel like either they're feeling stuck or struggle, that you have been able to kind of help them overcome that, especially as we're kind of, you know, moving to the new year.
Yeah, great question. I think we're in a prime season right now in October, November. I mean, I've always called it kind of business planning time because the things that you begin to put into place today will impact your first quarter in the new year. So it's really important to have some solid reflection on where you've been, how your business has performed, what things you need to tweak and change, and implement those into an actionable plan so that you can begin to see some change and some success in those areas in the following year. I have been mentoring agents really for my whole career. And that kind of landed in my lap accidentally because I'd had so much success, at least in terms of those watching, right? I had closed so many deals so quickly. New agents were going to my managing broker and asking questions like, how do I do blah, 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 right? Well, then he would point them to me. And of course I said, what are you doing? Like, I've only been doing this for like 6 months. He said, well, these people are brand new and they want to do what you've done, right? And you've just done it, like just done it. And so they want to know what you did. So I began mentoring new agents at, 6 months into the industry. Now, obviously, the style of my mentorship has grown and matured and changed over the years. When I personally came to EXP, I had my own brokerage firm. I was a managing broker and owned my own company, local here in Colorado, so boutique style firm, and had 75 agents at my company and was still in active production, was mentoring people, in-house, and then was doing all the auditing and compliance and whatnot as well. When I came over to EXP, it really was with the desire to lay down some of the management side and really explore the things I enjoy, and that's really teaching. And so truth be told, I probably took about a year off out of production. I did some minimal sales, just not what I had done before as a top producer, but had done some minimal sales and really focused in on mentorship. And I created content, over 150 video training modules for an entire curriculum, essentially, for mentorship. And that's something that I love, I enjoy. I dedicated about 6 months to record all of that content and then actively coach and mentor people through EXP, but also my own downline and whatnot as well. I think one of the things that has been a constant encouragement of mine to offer is, first of all, let's remove our comparative glasses, right? I think that can be so easy for us. I want to say for women in particular, but I think in general in this industry, it can be so easy to look at the next guy or girl and see what they're doing and assume that's what we need to do as well. I have spent time to create kind of a custom business plan with people to identify their big why, to identify what they're marching towards. Are they, like you, trying to leave a full-time job and embrace real estate full-time? And what does that interim look like? How could we build momentum in a way that doesn't cause you to expend all of your personal time and energy, to create a launch pad for you to let go of this in order to jump over here? That's been a consistent conversation for me over the last few years. People leaving or attempting to leave a job to come to real estate full time. And I think sometimes that transition doesn't always look like how you plan it to be. Yep. And so it's being willing to be gracious with yourself, gracious with the process of learning a new industry, learning new skills, creating a business, whether that's in your mind first and then outwardly, and then doing new actions, which require new habits. And so, but that's been a consistent conversation of mine, is how can we create a business plan that's specific to you, to your family, to your household needs financially, and to the timing that's a necessity for you, right? It's not about being late or being early. It's let's customize it for your particular needs.
Yeah, no, and I love you sharing that because kind of again, going with that business mindset, it's something that people just like, I want to get started. What do I need to do? Open houses, this or that, which obviously is going to be part of your, your journey. You need to lead generate. So, you're going to have to do some activities, but it's just even taking the step back to look like, what's your plan, and I love doing that kind of stuff as well, and I feel like ChatGPT these days makes things so much easier. I actually just went through like a call with my group of just like, this is how you can talk to ChatGPT. They're like, oh, I need to do my math. I was like, you don't even need to do the math. ChatGPT can do it for you. As long as you're feeding the right information and answering some of these questions, it will help you do that. And obviously with our guidance, because sometimes people they need to think about what that even look like for their market, for their business. But that is amazing. And, I have the pleasure to be in some of your, masterminds that you have shared with our group, with our women's call or our greater production. And, you have so much knowledge to share. So I so appreciate your time here today. And again, guys, that little reminder, book a call with Dawn, she has so much knowledge to share with you and to help you take your business to the next level. Or even if you just are curious to learn more about her, so definitely do that. But we're here to support your business. We are definitely with the win-win mindset. By us helping you, we are helping this industry. And so we're helping your family, and those things are definitely, I know that it's important to both of us. And, and we want to come alongside you in this beautiful journey of real estate. Dawn, thank you again for being here today. I so appreciate you. Can't wait to see what else is happening and is going to happen for you and your family in 2026. I'm sure I'll have you back here so you can share even more knowledge for us.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me to be in this space.
Absolutely. Well, take care, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next video. But for now, go follow Dawn and see all the things that she's doing in her business. Thank you. Bye.